guys!
Sorry if we look bad.
We really don't care.
Also, we just saw a movie.
It was pretty good.
It was a pretty good movie.
Made me cry a little.
Same.
Yeah.
Too many spoilers! Okay. So today, we're going to be talking about embarrassing guard moments.
And color guard, for many of you who will not know, is if you see a marching band, it's the generally girls, sometimes there's boys, but girls who are spinning the pretty flags.
And it's a lot of dancing and flag work, also other weapons. So there's just a lot of stuff that can go very, very wrong. So yeah, we're starting fall of our freshman year. So
you go.
First thing that happened to me was I have a really bad first competition juju. I don't know what else to call it.
Messes up.
Always mess up during the first competition. There is no, I always hope it's going to get better, and then the next time it's worse. So, fall of my freshman year, I guess either I set my flag in the wrong spot, or something happened.
Or both.
Or both. I set it in the wrong spot, and somebody thought that that was their spot, so they moved my flag. We were in the middle of performing at the very first competition, and everything was going great. And we come off a little bit less than halfway through the performance to switch flags, because we're changing.
There's 3 or 4 different times
where we
switch beginning, and then there's going to be a part that we just have a name for. We did a show about a soldier going to war, and so we called it battle. We called it battle flags.
So I came off of the field to get my battle flag, and I was running back out, except for that's not what happened. I went over to grab my battle flag, and it wasn't there. So our battle flags were red, and the girl next to me got one, and the girl on the other side of me got one, and I didn't have one. All I had was what was sitting on the ground, and it was somebody else's pink flag.
That's our closing flag.
Which is the flag for the end of the show. And so I was stressing out, and I was a freshman, so I really didn't know what to do. The girl next to me was a senior, and she didn't give me her flag, which I'm still kind of mad about, because if you're a senior, you already know what to do. So I just grabbed the pink flag, and I went out, and I was in the front, too. We finished the rest of the show, and everything else was good except for that, and I came off, and I see this other girl on the team crying.
She kept the closer flag for the closer, and so then that chick didn't have a closing flag.
You could just go out there and fake it.
Air flag.
Yeah.
She sat on the sidelines
and crying. And keep in mind, this girl is a year older than us, so she had already been on guard before. I felt really bad, and then I got yelled at by my coach, and I just felt really bad about it, and that was my very first competition ever, so I'm surprised I didn't quit after that, but I didn't.
So this is generally embarrassing for everyone our freshman year, but being freshmen, we're in the back, because we suck.
And they don't want to showcase us, because none of us know what we're doing.
Yeah. Originally what we did is we went up to the front, and there's these little things of wood that will hide us, and we have a costume change, which is where you do one little thing to your costume to change it. But then we had long white skirts that went over.
The costume was cute with the skirts, but then after we took the skirts off,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
And so you had to take off the skirt after the beginning of the show for the battle flags. And so originally we went off the field and changed, and then came back on in a different costume. We went around to the back, so we had to go in the front and go all the way around to the back.
So they decided, hey, why don't you guys just go to your spots and take off your skirt in front of everybody?
So we're in the back, and so we perform at football games during halftime for our high school. And so we are in the back, and we have to change on this on the field in front of them, and they're behind us, and we're our backs are facing them, and you have to take off your skirt, take it off, and squat. And so half of them were oh yeah, take it off, strip, so hard, keep going, yeah, and acting like we're strippers. And then the other half was oh my god, no, the children, winter. Okay, so winter is
exact
still,
same thing, except for
we don't have a band, and we're inside. And we have a floor.
It's not music that we write, it's music that is already existent. Winter,
Winter
was a Muppet song.
We
actually did really good.
Because the judges loved it, because everyone else was
everybody else is
depression.
Yeah, every other show was I'm sad.
Someone died.
And our show was just hey guys!
Life's so great!
Yeah, that was us.
You go.
Winter, the first competition,
Of course.
we all know, we had 2 flags for winter. We had the flag for the beginning and then the flag for the end. And I was going to get my ending flag, and as I was about to go, I realized that my flag came untaped. And that's really bad because if it comes untaped,
It doesn't spin right.
It doesn't spin right.
Plus
So
it looks bad.
exactly. So I like kind of freaked out a bit, and I just kind of like hit the tape to make sure it stayed on the pole, and I was like trying to make sure that it would stay on. So then I did the rest of the ending of the show, and we ended and we posed, and my flag started sliding down the pole, and I was so glad that it didn't happen during like the show. And our choreographer was like, I didn't know that your flag was untaped until the end. How did you pull that off? And I was like, I have no idea.
So winter our freshman year, mine's during practice.
Hard.
So we have a floor that goes on top of the gym floor. It's not like a little floor, it's a mat that weighs like 2 tons. And so you have like 20 girls carrying it, and it's huge, and it was really gross because we got it from a different school and we're cheap. And we were at practice, and my coach was like, okay, I want you to saute off the floor
And a
onto the
saute-
gym.
a
It's a type of travel
yeah.
for color guard. And so
It's a
pretty,
type
you
of leap.
leap. You want to go up, not forward, and he wanted me to go forward.
A lot. It was really far.
It was like 6 feet, and it was diagonal, and he wanted me to saute with my flag off of the floor. And I was like, okay, cool. And so like we do jazz runs to start to give us like some momentum.
It's like fancy running.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it this run through. And so I go to do it, and it would have been fine, but I didn't quite make it off the like mat onto the gym floor. I landed right on the edge, and we had closing flags tucked under the mat because they wanted it to be like, oh my gosh, different color, and like all surprise switch. And so we hid them under our mat. And so when I sauteed, I didn't realize there was a flag there, and I landed straight on the flag, rolled my ankles, screamed out in pain, and fell to our ground. And our coach was just like, yeah, you can sit out the rest of the practice. It was kind of my fault that you just got hurt. They take pictures during winter of us in the middle of the performance.
Yes.
And it was the same saute like part, except he didn't want me to go off the floor, and it was during a performance. And there's a picture of me in the air doing the saute, and she'll put it up if you can find it. And I'm like, so graceful.
All of our sophomore year. It's our
Ooh.
first year of us being on Weapon.
We're awesome.
First competition. Actually, the first embarrassing thing that happened to me was before the season even started. We were at practice, and we were practicing the fancy running, the jazz runs, like I said before.
I wasn't there.
We were doing it, and she was gone, and we were running, and I had socks on, and I slipped and fell in front of the whole team, and like landed so hard, and I just couldn't stop laughing. So the first competition, our friend who was spinning next to me, she just heard me go 9, 10, and because like my knee blew out, and I just fell over in the middle of the ending of the show. It was so embarrassing, and like there's a video of it on YouTube. I don't know, I couldn't find it when I looked, but I know it exists because it was really embarrassing, and people were telling me that I was right in front of the camera, so that's great.
It was a GoPro and a tuba.
It was a tube. He was like doing life as a tuba or something.
It's like, yeah.
Maybe you guys find it. Link it below because it's freaking hilarious.
Like, I guess something that's just embarrassing because you don't want this to happen is we had another costume change. But this time, we had like 5 seconds, and we had like a scarf on.
Yeah, at the beginning
and
of
it
the
was
show, we had a
bobby
scarf.
pinned.
A scarf bobby pinned to your head so that it didn't fall off. We had to take off the scarf,
Put on gauntlets,
gauntlets.
which are like sleeve things,
And-
which were way too tight, and you had to like take so long to put it on.
and put on makeup and grab your rifle before you go.
Makeup. It was like black lines.
It was
Because we're
like
like, we're a
black lines.
nightmare. We're scary. And so I got my scarf off, which took forever, pulled out like half my hair. We had these awkward like puffed up mohawks. And then I couldn't get my gaunts on. I had one gauntlet on. And then I had like just a dot of like black.
It was
Like barely any like of the black. Like it just looked like someone hit me in the face with the makeup. And I went out and I had to do rifle, and I like dropped my gauntlet on the ground because I couldn't get it on. And slightly just died.
Anyway, so winter.
We have a really nerdy coach, and so
We did
our
a
show was based
Tetris
off
show.
of Tetris, the game Tetris. You can go.
Okay, so first competition. Always something goes wrong. I actually dropped, I think, twice. And it wasn't like a drop. Like normally when people drop, it's when you're tossing, right? So you do a toss, and obviously sometimes you're not going to catch it. That happens, and it's not a thing. It does hurt, and it's not a thing that people really frown upon. Like if you do it over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, if it's a football game and you drop everyone in the stands who's like a high schooler's gonna laugh at you and you're like, you suck. I'm like, you want to do it?
Yeah, but like I mean, like coach-wise.
Yeah.
They don't really care unless it's over and over and over again, and you're constantly.
And you can't like get it back quick.
Yeah, but if you just like drop once, they really don't care. Like it's not a big deal. But that's not what really happened. So everything was great, and then I didn't even toss. I was walking with the rifle and dropped it. And then we did this weird toss where like we held the gun in between our hands and spun it this way and caught it,
that.
dropped that.
Did it like hit you in your foot?
It did hit me in my foot.
She has broken feet, so that probably really hurt.
It did hurt.
And so it was a Saturday morning, and we were at practice. Well, not practice. We were practicing before our competition. And so we were doing rifle, which is a wooden gun that we throw. And so they had like the best 8, the elite 8, and we were in it. And so we all go up to the very front of the floor, and we threw triples, which is where it spins 3 times in the air. And me and Amber, I guess, messed up our spacing, and we were a little bit too close, and she actually like rainbowed it, so she threw it
when
over
you toss, you're
towards
supposed to
me.
toss straight up, and I tossed to the side.
And so like we both caught our rifles perfectly, like did the triple great.
I just caught mine on her wrist. Yeah,
And then, yeah, and so immediately she like realized she hit me, and she's like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine." And so like we started walking backwards and continued the show, and then I'm like, "I'm not fine." And I started like bawling because it hurt bad.
It really embarrassed. It was really.
And so I'm like crying, finishing this show, and I'm like can't throw anything. And we got to end, and our coach was like, and she's like, "Are you okay there?" And I'm like, "No," and I'm like dying. And then we had to go to a competition and perform again, and my wrist was killing me.
Or the Thursday before championships, because we practice on Thursdays, we had like everybody who wanted to come to watch our performance come and watch us. And
Our school.
It went really, really good, and like everybody was really excited for championships. We were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do great." So we go to championships. Me and her and one other girl are in shape together at the beginning of the show, and I guess me and the other girl were too close because we both tossed our flag and hit.
Yeah.
And we both hit poles, and both of our flags like go down, and she catches hers, and I drop mine. You can't see it though. And I was like, and it landed exactly where I needed to go, and I was like, okay, just pretend like it didn't happen. And then I dropped my rifle once.
Yeah. But it was like smooth. Got it. Picked it back up.
Yeah, like no one even noticed, but it was still embarrassing.
It's
So
always
anyway, so
embarrassing.
that's our embarrassing guard stories.
There's probably way more.
Yeah, we just
Just look at any photos of us
Yeah.
in the middle of a performance.
If I can, I'll put a bunch of my. You know how
Oh my gosh, we
I
memed them.
I memed the photos. I'll put a bunch of them at the end of this video. Anyway, so guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.